Just got back off the road, coming from King Street, South Carolina, picking up some chickens that I got butchered that I'm selling. So that's what I got going on. Everybody come in. Who all can come in? Hey, when you come in, hashtag black to the land. BLACK to the land. Hashtag black to the land when you come in. And if you're watching this after the live stream, hashtag black to the land in the comment section. Oh, we got somebody on. If you on hashtag black to the land, drop a comment. Let me know who on. Good evening. Ayana Swain, good evening. How you doing? I don't think I ever saw you before. But good evening. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the live stream. And thank you for coming. Today we are going to be talking about steps to self-sufficiency. But the first step to self-sufficiency, that is black to the land. Steps to self-sufficiency. Because that's the main thing. That's the main thing that I'm really about. Farming is just like, it's the main thing, because farming allows you to become self-sufficient and to learn everything. But self-sufficiency is more than just farming. It's more than just what you do. It's also how you think as well. That's why I want to talk about steps to self-sufficiency. Because there's one important step you got to take before you can even be self-sufficient. So we're going to get into that today. And self-sufficiency is also hunting, fishing. Self-sufficiency is also knowing how to build shelters. Self-sufficiency is knowing life-saving skills. Self-sufficiency is knowing different types of natural wild herbs that you can use, different types of forage that you can eat. It's a lot of different things, a lot of different techniques that come with self-sufficiency. Our ancestors knew all of these things. They knew all, and depending on where you're at, every landscape is different geographically. So you have to adapt to wherever you're at. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they live in areas where most of their proteins and their meats, it comes from the ocean, because they're, on a island or whatever the case may be. So they eat a lot of fish. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know how to fish. That's a step of self-sufficiency. So it's just a lot of stuff. So we're gonna get into it today. See somebody else just joined. Hashtag black to the land if you just joined. Leave a comment. Let me know who's on. Got my overalls on today. I feel like a real farmer today. Thank you. My first live video, but I watch your videos and wholeheartedly agree with the self-sufficient. Hey man, I'm telling you, that's what it takes. Just getting back to the land, getting back to self-sufficiency, and going back to our roots, if you will, because that's exactly what it is our roots. A lot of black people, especially American black people, we like to stay as far away from our roots as possible. We think that was slaves' work, or it's a negative connotation. You get a lot of black folks. Especially that they don't want to get out in the sun, because they don't want to get darkened by the sun, so they don't want to go out and work in the fields. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it's going to take, especially with the uncertain times that we're facing. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going on. Inflation is at an all-time high, so steps to self-sufficiency is where it's at right now. Knowing how to feed yourself. You got all these skills. You have people who have all these skills, and I used to think like this too, just working a career and things like that, and being college educated, because I have a degree. You're not taught basic life skills. I had to learn basic life skills for myself. A lot of our uncles and aunts and grandmas, granddads, when they went to school, they were taught a trade. So they were taught carpentry, they were taught masonry, they were taught construction, they were taught electrician, they were taught plumbing, all of these different things. They were taught farming, agriculture. Going through high school, they were taught trades. It's not the same no more. And what you see is back then, a lot of those older folks, even the women, they knew how to do things. They knew how to survive. They knew how to live. They didn't need a lot. Now everything is so convenient. Everything is so convenient. Hold on, let me turn this music down. I be getting distracted, man. I be getting distracted. Yeah, that's good. But I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, everything is so convenient nowadays in the times that we live in. As far as we could just like I just got my oil changed like 2 days ago, and you could drive in there. You never have to get out your car. All you got to do is drive in there 5 minutes. They change your oil. You pay. You're done. You see what I'm saying? It's just simple as that. Everything is so convenient. Everything is so microwavable. To the fact that we're losing touch with reality. Everything is so digitized. Everything is so social mediatized. That's even a word, but everything is it's just so convenient. It's so digital. It's so artificial intelligence. It's so artificial that we're losing connection with reality, if you will. We're losing connection with reality. Like even now, we're talking over a device, that connects us, which in a good way, but at the same time, I'm not seeing everyone who's on here face to face. Even groceries can be purchased online. Matter of fact, it's crazy you say that. Shout out to G Mama Groves. It's funny that you say that. My wife just ordered groceries this morning. They was right when we woke up and we went out. When I went outside to feed the animals, there was groceries in our front door. So I mean, I can literally go on Amazon right now and pick anything I want, hit a button, it could be to my house in 2 days. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's no live human interaction with that. You know what I'm saying? Back in the days, you went to the stores, you went to the markets, you met the farmers who were growing the food. When you went to the mechanic, you knew the mechanic. A lot of times the mechanic was your uncle. Speaking for the black community, I can't speak for no other community, but a lot of times the mechanic was my granddad, a mechanic. You see what I'm saying? So everybody in the family that had trouble with their car, they go to my granddaddy or they go to my uncle. It was a relationship. They got that cigarette in their mouth and they tell you what's wrong with it. It's always the carburetor or the alternator. It's always something like that. But you knew who you were getting service from. You saw them work on the car. You had a conversation with them. You had a laugh or two. It was real. You see what I'm saying? Nowadays, nothing is real. Everything is artificial. You know what I'm saying? Being self-sufficient is getting out of that. We must really be. And I'm telling you, with internet cousins, see, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like most black people in America, we kind of grew up the same way. You know what I'm saying? No matter where you're from. Yeah. So we got to get back to the inconvenient way of doing things. You know what I'm saying? Like when I grew up, right? Because I'm from the South, and I grew up old-fashioned. Even though I'm not that old, I was born in 1995. I'm not that old, but I'm still old-fashioned because I was raised around my grandparents, my uncles, my great uncles, and great aunts and things like that. So I got a lot of old school values, and I grew up old school. But back in the day, it wasn't no microwavable meals for dinner. That wasn't it. We didn't just pop things in the microwave and that was your dinner. No, my grandma cooked. I remember vividly watching my grandma cleaning chitlins in the kitchen sink, scaling fish in the kitchen sink. We lost connection with the relationship with communication, especially these new generation. They don't even know. I'm telling you, they don't know about house phones. You on the phone, the corded phone, not the cordless phone, the corded phone. You on that phone talking like they don't even know about that. AOL dial-up, all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And just being outside as a kid, like growing up, I feel old too. Being a kid growing up, me and my cousins, because you grew up with your cousins as your siblings, you know what I'm saying? You all at your grandparents' house, we got locked outside. Every day, every morning, we went outside, we got locked outside until it was time to eat. So if you're thirsty, Then you go, to the water hose. You drink out the water hose. If you're hungry, you can go to the store, get a bag of chips or something like that, or you can come in and get a snack. But that's how we grew up. Nowadays, kids don't even go outside. My kids go outside, but regular children don't go outside. They on video games. You know what I'm saying? And we think, and I say this all the time to people who I talk to, and I'm gonna get back on my point that I was making. I know I go around and around and around, but I don't know. That's what I lost my train of thought. But what was I saying? Yeah. So we would basically we would get. It's gonna be funny talking to your children about how phones have evolved. I'm telling you, I saw the evolution of phones. I saw the evolution of phones from, like it was the house phone you was talking on growing up. It wasn't no cell phones. I remember a time when there wasn't no cell phones. Like, well, wasn't no cell phones, but cell phones weren't like popularized like that. You was playing Snake on the phone and things like that. If you want to text something out on the phone, you got to use the numbers. It wasn't the letters. But anyways, we got locked outside growing up. And we were outside all day. Nowadays, that's what I was saying. So nowadays we have this enlightened generation, this woke generation, and everything like that, where they feel like, I ain't gonna say we, because I don't feel like this, but they feel like we're so much smarter than our ancestors. We have evolved so much past our ancestors, and that could be further from the truth. We might have more technology. We might have easier access to things. We might live in a post Jim Crow era, a post blatant racist era, even though it's still, racism in the world. It's not like our ancestors had to endure it. So we got a little bit easier. We live in a post a lot of things era. So we think that we're better somehow. We think that we're more educated because we got bachelor's degrees. I got a bachelor's degree. That don't make me more educated than nobody. That especially who came before me, because I can talk to my grandmother right now who isn't college educated, and she's way more advanced in wisdom because she saw more things. She grew up in a time where things were authentic. My grandfather, same thing. I wouldn't dare say we're smarter than the previous generations, that we know more than the previous generations. I wouldn't dare say that. That's foolish. You know what I'm saying? If anything, we're more dumbed down, and that's why I feel like I've been blessed with the purpose to bring awareness back, especially to black people, and also to young people. Millennials, Gen Z, and not even that, but just this culture, because it is just young people who are ignorant. It's a lot of older people as well. But to bring awareness to them that we actually need to get back to the land. Exactly. That's my auntie Deshane Green. Yep. We knew how. Man, my grandma used to take us crabbing. You know what I'm saying? Just things like that. So like I was saying, like, we gotta get back to this type of thing, man. I remember growing up, my grandmother watching her scaling fish in the sink, chitlins. We used to get, it was like I was saying, it wasn't this microwave generation. It wasn't all of that. You had a cooked meal. You had a real cooked meal. That was, the food was rich. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say we have to get out of the convenient way of doing things, because the convenient way of doing things is making us lazy and is making us weak. Luxury foods were available every day due to get up at 4 a.m. with the tide. No sleep. Exactly. That's luxury food that you caught yourself. Yep, you right, auntie. Our nanny, used to take us fishing. That's what we used to do. We used to go fishing. We used to go crabbing. That's what we used to do. That was our thing. And like I was saying, like, this conveniency that we're experiencing in this time, I feel like it was purposefully done, because when people get so accustomed to shortcuts and convenience, they become lazy. So when it's time to actually do real work, then people aren't willing to do that. And in essence, they're willing to forfeit any right, any wealth, anything they have. They're willing to give that up to get that convenience back. That's exactly what a lot of these conveniences are designed to do. It's designed to breed mindless people. man, I was thinking about something because when I start butchering my own food and when I start raising my own food, chickens for eggs and for meat and sheep and goats and all this stuff, I was thinking and getting into it, man, you learning about the different breeds of things. You learning about, okay, with chickens, you know, you got different kind of chickens. You got egg-laying chickens that are bred specifically to lay eggs. Then you got meat chickens that are bred for meat. You know what I'm saying? You got different breeds. You got your Cornish cross. You got your Red Ranger brothers. You got dual purpose birds. You got the bar rock. You got the you know, egg laying chickens as well. You got the Rhode Island Reds. You got the Sapphire Gems. You got the Easter eggs. So you learning about this stuff, and I got to thinking. I was like, you know, prior to me growing my own food and raising my own food, I have the no, not even half, all of the food that I ate, chicken, beef, pork, lamb, goat, I didn't even know what breed of animal it was. I didn't, so for instance, you know, the chicken that you eat, that you get from Popeyes, you don't even know what breed of chicken that is. You don't know if that's a Cornish cross chicken. You don't know if that's a Rhode Island red chicken. You don't know what farm it was raised on. You don't know the living conditions of that chicken. You have no idea of the life of your food, the life it lived. You have no idea, but you're taking it and you're putting it in your body. You don't know if I mean, it's steroids. You don't know what it was fed. You don't know the hormones that they pumped and injected into it. You don't know if this chicken ever saw the light of day and you're putting it in your temple. I mean, just, and the thought of that, it was just so crazy to me. Because it was like, wow, like we really don't have a clue. I really didn't have a clue. And you think, you know, that would intrigue people and make people say, hold on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do want to know this because at the end of the day, you are consuming it. You are putting it in your body. You're trusting this thing to go inside your body and you don't know everything that you can know about it. That's scary. So I just say all that to say we have to get the connection back with reality. We have to get connection. DNR Homestead, shout out to DNR Homestead. Miss Rhoda, we talked to her on the phone yesterday. Had a great conversation. It was great talking to you as well. But we have to get that connection back. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I'm learning with farming, y'all, is that, man, it's hard work. It's tough. It's laborious, but at the same time, it's so much worth it. I actually just bought 2 more female sheep. But my son, he trying to break in here. Babe, come get him. That's my 1-year-old. Yeah, I just went and bought two more sheep the other day, 2 more female ewes, and you know, it was just hard work. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to drive. I had to drive out of town to go get it. You know, and one of the ewes I bought, man, she had to be like 150 pounds. Like she's built. I got a video coming out Monday of the whole thing, how it went. It went great. And I bought one of the prettiest ewes that I ever saw. The coat on her is beautiful, brown and white, spotted. She's beautiful. But and I think she might be pregnant. But I'm saving all that for the video. Y'all see the video when it come out. But anyways, you know, we had to drive. Me and my son, we drove to Statesboro. I had just got off work. You know, went and did what I had to do, ran some errands, and then ride to Statesboro, an hour away, go get the sheep. You know, have to wrestle the sheep, put them in there, pick them up, put them on the back of my truck. Hey, L&L Homestead, what's going on? Put them on the back of the truck. You know what I'm saying? And that ain't no easy thing to do. You know, then you got to put them in the fence and you got to take them off. You got to wrestle them off. You know, like it's labor's work. You never know what could happen. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know, that's what it's about, because I know, okay, now I have a total of 4 female sheep. I have a total of 4 ewes. I want to come see your new chicken. Oh yeah, I actually got 80 chickens in the brooder right now. No, I got more than that. I'm lying because I ordered some egg layers too. So I got about 100 and about 90 something in the brooder right now. But yeah, so now I'm thinking, okay, multiplication. Now I got 1 ram and I got 4 ewes. So I got a total of 5 sheep. Now, the one I just bought that's potentially pregnant, that could be 1 or 2 babies. Not to mention the other 3 females that are going to be bred with the ram, that's potentially two. Let's just be conservative and say one from each, which that's super conservative. You know, taking into consideration that they usually have twins, but let's just say each one of those ewes have one baby apiece. That's four extra lambs that will be born on my homestead. So now you talking about from 5 to 9. Now my flock done double, just about double. My flock done double, just about in 1 year. Not to mention how many females come out of that litter, come out of those lambs, then breed them right back. I mean, but guess what? I'm just thinking the whole time in my mind, food source. Food source. You know what I'm saying? So the first step to self-sufficiency. The first step to self-sufficiency. I was thinking long and hard about this. Like, what's the actual first step to self-sufficiency? Because a lot of times, the first thought in your mind will be, okay, well, buying some land, or learning how to do this, learning how to raise chicken, learning what you want to raise, how you want to raise it, learning, like getting a plan, pretty much. But that's not the first step to self-sufficiency. The first step to self-sufficiency is the desire for freedom. I'm gonna say that again. The first step to self-sufficiency is the desire for freedom. I didn't start farming. I didn't start becoming self-sufficient until I had the desire to want to be free. Free from what? We live in America. We are free. No, I'm talking about free from dependency of mega corporations. Free from the dependency of the government. Free from the dependency on any external factor that can control your life. That's what I'm talking about. Freedom from disease and uncertainty about where your food comes from. That's the desire that you gotta have. You gotta have the desire for freedom. Like, why do you really want to become self-sufficient? It wasn't until, and I forgot how I came across this video, but I ran across the video by a brother named another farmer. He's a black guy up in Virginia. His name is Renard Turner, and I actually had the privilege of talking to him and meeting him over the phone. And we had a long, great conversation. But I ran across a video that he had, somebody was interviewing him pretty much. And he was talking about getting back to the land. And in this video, he was talking about how, basically, how far we've evolved away from the true purpose we were put on this earth for. Amen. Yes, Lord. I believe, God, that you will. Amen. Yep. You gotta have a desire for freedom. But he was talking about how so far we have gotten detached from the land. How we have, devolved. How we have gotten dumbed down. How nowadays, if you were to put, 3 average black male from the inner city, and you drop them off in the wood, you drop them off in the woods with supplies, lumber, tools, everything they need to survive, to build a house, they will sell all of that stuff and find their way back to the city. You see what I'm saying? How you know what I'm saying? Like the connection with our food, about how we weren't meant to consume certain things, and just a lot of different things he was just going into, and it sparked something in me, and it got me to thinking, like, man, this guy's right. Like, I mean, I don't even know, the food source, and then not these GMOs. He was talking about GMOs and how they use, and the same things that they use, you know what I'm saying, in ingredients to feed us. They use these same things in things like chemical weapons. They use these same things in military grade weapons. You know what I'm saying? And that got me thinking, like, wow, if they putting this in the food, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is it doing to our body? What is it doing to our internal, organs and things like that? And so I got to thinking, because I'm like, okay, my grandmother passed away of cancer, lung cancer that spread. She passed away at 69 years old. My great-grandmother, her mother died in her 80s. And then now I'm thinking about, okay, my other grandmother on my father's side, she's in her 60s, and she and blood pressure and diabetes and and all of that different thing, and how her mother didn't have those ailments. My great grandmother on my father's side lived to be like 93. So I'm just thinking about all these things, and I'm like, it's stuff they're putting in the food, it's stuff they're putting in the air, it's stuff that we don't know that's really infecting us, that's causing cancers, that's causing the diabetes, that's not properly breaking down in our bodies, that our bodies were never meant to consume. And so after that, I just got the desire to be self-sufficient because I'm like, man, you know what? I can't be dependent. And then not to mention, he was talking about how the first weapon of warfare is food. If you give somebody the power to feed you, you give them the power to starve you. That's the first weapon of warfare. If you ever study history, if you ever look at historical empires, you know, like, okay, we could take Israel, for example, ancient Israel. That ancient Israel fell to the Romans, 70 AD. You know what one of the main tactics was that the Romans used? Because, see, back in those days, empires, the main cities and the main headquarters of empires were always fortified. They had walls around them. Like, you ever heard of the walls of Jericho in the Bible? They fortified their city. They fortified their empire, right? So a weapon of warfare that the Romans used against the Israelites back in the day is they cut off their water supply. They cut off the water that was going into Jerusalem. They cut off the water supply because it was going to take them a while to get through the fortified walls and to break and to gain an entrance and a foothold into the actual city. So what we can do now is we can start destroying that farmland and we can start cutting off their water supply because you starve the enemy out. So thinking about all this revolutionary stuff, right? You know, in America, black folks always talking about rising up and revolutionizing and things like that. You know, as far as taking on, like, okay, what a lot of our people who came before us did, like the Black Panthers, like the Nation of Islam, like all these different people, they said, let's revolutionize, let's do this, let's fight the power, right? See, but the difference is back then, they had skills, they had life skills back then. The Black Panthers were feeding people. You see what I'm saying? The Nation of Islam was feeding people. The civil rights, they were feeding people. You know what I'm saying? They had life skills. They knew how to build. They knew brickwork. They knew construction. They knew masonry. They knew this, and then they had military skills. They were well put together. Nowadays, man, we so dumbed down from the media to the music, the FDA, because when I'm fucking rain chicken thing cooking. Yep. Exactly. They back in those days, those old folks, they run the chicken's neck, they hand plucked them, hand picked them, and you know, cooked them up, stewed them down, all that good stuff, right? Had those fresh eggs. I mean, it was just a lot healthier. But you know, I had got to thinking like, okay, if you got this, you know, mentality of revolutionizing and fighting the power, you know, but you don't even know basic life skills. Most young black brothers today under the age of 21 don't even know how to change a tire. They probably don't even know how to use a tool. You know what I'm saying? They don't know, I mean, just the basics of basics. You know what I'm saying? So how are we thinking we're gonna rise up and we don't even control our food supply? We don't control our construction work. We don't have our own doctor's offices we can go to. Only thing we got is the church. And not speaking any ill against the church, but that's the only big institution that we have as black folks in America. That's the only thing we can turn to is the church. Everything else is politics and rappers and celebrities with money who's not doing anything, right? So the first step is self-sufficiency. The first step is the desire to want to be free. You got to want to be free. Now, you got most people who, they don't necessarily want to be free. They want to live comfortably in the city. They want to live comfortably in you know, wherever. They want to work their career. They want to work their job, their 9 to 5, and they want to go home to the suburbs, and they want to put money in their 401k, you know, and go on vacation once or twice a year, buy all their foods from Whole Foods or the other grocery market, get it delivered to their house, put their children in some sports, You know what I'm saying? Have a hobby outside of the house. You know, whether it's, shooting pool or, I mean, what this is what they want to do. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But in the same instance, don't sit up here and talk about uh, 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 being free. Don't sit up here and talk about revolutionizing or, fighting the power or Black Lives Matter and all these different, things that our people fall for. Getting on Instagram and Twitter and you so woke. Oh, did you know this? Did you know that? We live in that culture. We live in that did you know this culture? Or did you know that? Oh, so you don't even know this, you don't even know that. Okay, but here's the thing. While you sitting up here looking at all of these things that you're learning off the internet, what are you doing in real life to combat whatever you are fighting against? Or what are you doing to really truly help out the people you say you care about? What are you doing? Because this is the thing, right? Most people, they get so caught up in what people say on the internet. They get so caught up into, oh, this person said this person said that, but they're not even looking at that person's real life. You got a lot of people who say a lot of things on the internet, but if you look at their real life and you see, man, that's a pretty good brother, or that's a pretty good sister. She's pretty. They doing stuff in the community. They doing this, they doing that. But then you'll have the super spiritual or super woke people who you see on Facebook and Instagram, and they posting all the good memes and stuff, and they not doing nothing in their personal lives. They're not honorable men or women. They're not actually doing. They're not doing anything for the people they claim they love. You have people who are chanting, a lot of these political slogans, whether it's Black Lives Matter or, I ain't gonna get political, but you got these people saying these things, these political slogans and things like that, and getting behind these political movements on social media, but in real life, they're not contributing anything to those people who they're claiming that they're standing up for. You see what I'm saying? So we have to get away from that. We have to get away from that. And the first step is we got to desire freedom. Because right now, I'm not even gonna say specifically black folks, but Americans are in bondage. We are in bondage to big tech corporations. We are in bondage to the convenience of everyday life. We are in bondage to artificial intelligence. We are in bondage to our vices. We are in bondage to foreign countries that we're dependent on exports from. We're dependent on governments. We're dependent on our job to pay us. And if our job doesn't pay us, then if our job doesn't pay us, then we one check away from, being on the streets. Most young Americans, or most Americans in general. We're in bondage to the people who come out and fix our AC, because if they don't fix our AC, we don't know how to fix it. We in bondage to the water company, because if they cut our water off, we don't know where we're going to get water from. We in bondage to these places, these people. We in bondage to these restaurants. We're in bondage. So the first step to self-sufficiency, because it's a lot of steps, but the first step, it has to start in here and in here. It has to start in your mind and in your heart. It can't just be this. It can't just be you trying to just go out and just do something, just start doing something. No, you gotta want to be free. Cause guess what? You can have somebody who say, you know what, man, I'm gonna start a garden, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But guess what? After a month, it got too hot outside, man. I just go to the grocery store. Matter of fact, I just go to the farmer's market. I know it's healthy if I go to the farmer's market. Because they didn't have it in here and they didn't have it made up in here in their minds. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first step to self-sufficiency. Work. Yep, Hillendale Homestead, work. DNR Homestead said most people your age are partying and traveling, not doing food. That's true. That's true. And I know most of those people. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm trying to provide food for a lot of those people. Because here's the thing, right? And this is something that I had to understand. Not everybody is a farmer. Not everybody is somebody or a gardener or somebody who's meant to grow food. You got people who meant to be construction workers. You got people who meant to be doctors, who meant to learn how to do holistic healing. You got people who need to study law. You got people who need to be studying militarily. so they can have a warrior mentality to protect. You know what I'm saying? We need to have more entrepreneurs and business people who can actually uh, put together all of these different entities into one, like how Black Wall Street was, how Tulsa, Oklahoma was, the Greenwood District. We need that. Because here's the thing, right? Farming is just one aspect. It's just one entity. It's just one part of the whole equation, right? So I'm only playing my part. So that's why I don't get hung up on trying to make everybody a farmer. But I am trying to get hung up on making everybody self-sufficient and everybody knowledgeable about their food, because guess what? Food is life. Water is life. If you're not taking care of this, you're not going to be able to do all that stuff that you want to do, whether it's studying law, whether it's studying medicine, whether it's building. If you're not taking care of your body, so okay, we got to start with, okay, what are you putting in yourself? What are you putting in your body? What are you putting in your mind too? As far as what you're learning, you know what I'm saying? Because we got to start there as well. We got to get away from the toxic food, and we got to get away from the toxic mental food that we're eating up in our minds. You see what I'm saying? Because, I mean, the average young person, the average young black person, they on this all day, scrolling on social media. They just like this all day. Instagram, double tap, Facebook, share, Snapchat, they reading the snap, whatever. So that's what they doing all day. That's what they doing. So we got to get away from that. You know what I'm saying? We got to start here. Pick up a book, read something, learn something. You know what I'm saying? Just remind you that you can't feed everybody when it, oh yes, oh no, I know that. Yeah, everybody can't come over here if the grocery stores start closing. As a matter of fact, I ain't even gonna say that, because my family can come, but guess what? They're gonna be working. They're gonna be out there working. I'm gonna have a lot more labor. We're gonna build a lot more things and grow a lot more food. I always wanted the community and village, but coming from the Midwest, we don't fully see self-sufficiency till you get more in the South. That's true. That's true. That man, in the South, it's actually common. You know what I'm saying? Like farming is common. And that's one thing I love about the South and growing up in the South. You see farms, you see animals, you see people fishing, you see people hunting, you see people, being self-sufficient, or as self-sufficient as they could be. Man, I drove through New York one time, and I don't have no desire to ever go back to New York. I drove through New York one time, got no desire. Too many people there. Too many people stacked up on top of each other. Everything, you talking about everything that people need, necessities, food, water, shelter, clothing. And all of the necessities are produced outside of the city of New York. Now, of course, you go upstate, you got farms and all that good stuff, but I'm talking about the city. Everything in the city of New York is imported in. Everything, through truck, through boat, through train. What happens when when those modes of transportation are cut off? You're going to see people start trying to come to the country. And I'm not speaking doom and gloom. I don't know what's going to happen. Prayerfully, hopefully God, he has grace. Hopefully God, and this is my belief. I believe it's always going to be a Goshen. I believe it's always going to be a Goshen. I believe it's always going to be a place where God has grace and mercy. I believe that. So I'm not believing for destruction and doom. I know that there's things happening in the world and things that are going to continue to happen, but I just got faith in the God I serve that he's going to have grace. And that's why I thank him for preparing me. You know what I'm saying? But the first step is self-sufficiency. The first step to self-sufficiency is desire to want to be free. That's the same thing my husband said. The people live across the street and ask for our food. Yeah. Hey, because when people see, because this is the thing, right? Nowadays, most people, this is the thing, right? They got all these different things going on that they think are so important. Whether it's, oh man, I gotta beat this level on the video game, or oh man, did you see what they said on Facebook or YouTube? Did you check this latest video out? Oh man, did you check this latest technology out? All these sports. Did you see this basketball team? Whatever. But when stuff hits the fan, when crap hits the fan, everybody is going to be looking for those things that they need the most, that they took for granted. See, it's easy to sit up here and be so consumed in the worldly things while you eating a Hot Pocket, or while you eating, some pizza rolls, or while you eating some Popeyes chicken that you just went and got up the street. But guess what? When Popeyes closed, when it ain't no electricity, the microwave don't work. When it ain't none of this, microwavable stuff, when it ain't no food in the refrigerator, when the grocery stores closed down, whatever the case may be, however bad it get, it don't even necessarily have to be the collapse of the, financial system. It could be a storm. You saw what happened in Katrina. You know what I'm saying? It could be something like that. You never know. But once crap hits the fan, they gonna be eyeing in on the same people they laughed at. Oh man, y'all crazy. Y'all doing this. Y'all growing food. Y'all farming this and that. Oh man, y'all sitting here talking about this self-sufficiency stuff. They gonna be the same ones coming to you saying, hey, G Mama Grows, you think you got any more vegetables left over? Or hey, DNR Homestead, you think you got some deer meat? Oh yeah, that's what's gonna be happening. That's gonna be, people gonna be real humble then. You know what I'm saying? But we just gotta focus on our skills and stuff, because, and this is the thing too, man. Tribulation don't always have to mean bad. Sometimes tribulation actually makes people stronger and brings people together. Because this is my thing, right? I always say this. I say when black folks going through stuff, that's when we stick together the most. Why is it that you see these brothers who are on the street, who are free men, they got rivals, whether they Crippin' blood, whether they GD or BD, wherever they, this neighborhood or that neighborhood, they will literally kill each other on the streets, but they go to prison and they stick together. Because you got the Mexicans sticking together in there. Whether they MS-13, whatever gang they is, they sticking together just based off of their color. So guess what? These same dudes you were shooting at on the street, y'all now in the cell, and now y'all in the prison, and now y'all tight. Because y'all had to go through tribulation. Y'all had to be locked in the prison just to bring you together. Why is that? And it seems like that's what happens with black folks. See, when we were oppressed, when black folks were oppressed, we stuck together. We stuck together more. But as soon as you start giving, soon as black folks got a little taste of freedom and they start making their own money and they start being able to move here and do that and do this and do that, we got so divided. When everything became so liberal, you know what I'm saying? When we went, see, because back in those days, my grandma tell me about the days when she grew up. You can go to your neighbor house, get some sugar, borrow some this. You can go to this neighbor house, borrow that. Your neighbors could whoop you back then. It was cohesive. It was a community. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like we just so divided. But tribulation don't always mean bad. Because guess what? I ain't gonna lie. If something was to happen, and whether it's a storm or a natural disaster or a man-made disaster, whatever the case may be, if the grocery stores start closing down and this and that start happening, I would want people to actually come and help on the land, to come and okay, all right, y'all go take this half acre right here, y'all grow this crop. Okay, all right, we need you to hunt. Okay, you could be security, this and this and that. Then we can stick together and we can work together, because ain't no sense of hoarding it all for ourselves. Ain't no sense of that. We need communal. We need to be communal again. We need to be communities again. That's what we need. That's and that's really what I want to seek to bring back, is community. When I get my land, I will have workshops to teach others at least basic concepts, because I want to really learn. Exactly. That's my thing, exactly. So one thing I'm going to do, and this is something I already do now, especially with my little cousins and my little brother, is I bring them, I bring them up to the land and I show them different things. So one thing I want to do in the future is I want to have young boys and girls, youth, actual youth. They come up for a week. They can stay in a hotel. If we don't have anywhere to house them here, or they can sleep here. If they want to make pallets and whatever the case may be. But anyways, I want to have them come up here for like a week or 2 weeks. It's like a summer camp kind of thing where we teach, okay, introduction to farming, introduction to animal husbandry, introduction to gardening. Okay, and guess what? This is how you do this. Okay, this is how you do that. We can teach you about this animal, that animal. This is what they eat. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, Okay, now we can butcher some chickens. Now we can, you know what I'm saying, build something on the land. Let's build a chicken coop together. Okay, then let's build the nesting boxes. Let's, so just teaching them, just getting back to the land and just how everything works together, teaching them the laws of nature, teaching them how everything that comes from the earth goes back to the earth and is good for the earth, and the earth is good for it, because God formed man out of the dust of the earth and blew the spirit into him, right? And then so when man dies, when Adam dies, he went back into the earth, and the earth benefited from Adam going back into the earth, the organisms and all of that, so it's a circle of life. When something is born, what comes from the earth is beneficial to that person. When that person dies, it's beneficial to the earth. So it's a circle of life. They said it to Noah till the storm came. Exactly. People call you crazy and everything. Yep, it only takes a few words like hurricane or lockdown to put people in a grocery. Exactly. Man, and that's exactly what happened with COVID-19. That's I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that, but with the pandemic, that's what happened. It was the craziest thing because I remember. I don't know if y'all remember this. Leave in the comments if y'all remember when the pandemic first hit. People, they were getting toilet tissue. You couldn't find toilet tissue nowhere. Do y'all remember that? Leave in the comments if you remember that. And in my mind, I'm thinking, because this is when I first started getting, because I had previously, and my wife will tell you, I had previously been prepping before this. So I had been buying ammo, I had been buying guns, I had been buying freeze-dried foods, MREs, storing up water, and I had been gardening, and I had chickens. So I had all this prior to the lockdown, right, to the pandemic. And when people start going in there and panic buying toilet tissue, I was like, they're not panic buying the food? Because I'm going on the food aisles, and I'm like, it's food in here. And they buying toilet tissue? I said, man, this is how blind people react. This is how mindless the masses really are. The news tell you to go stack up on toilet tissue, and you bypass the food like you can eat toilet tissue. I'm like, this is the craziest thing ever. And then that's when, it's like, man, it just happened like that, man. God, he just opened your eyes and exposed you to so much. But I saw that, I was just laughing at people. Sapphire, diamonds, pearls, or SDP jewels, welcome. Working together is the key. That's the thing, man. We gotta stop. We gotta get out of this me mentality and get into this our mentality. Now, I'm not saying you gotta give everybody everything out your house, no. But what I'm saying is give as much as you can to people, whether it's knowledge, whether it's food, resources, whatever the case may be, whatever you can afford to give to people, give it to them. Because guess what? I look at things as an investment. I look at my giving as an investment, as me sowing, right? The Bible talks about sowing and reaping. You know what I'm saying? So like when you tithing, you're not just giving money away. No, you're sowing it. You're investing it into the kingdom of God. You're going to get a return. You're not doing it so you can purposefully receive a return, because you just giving just to get. No, you giving because you want to sow into the kingdom of God. And in essence, what you're doing is you're reaping benefits from God, and God is seeing that and honoring that. So it's the same thing with giving to people, with giving to my brother, with giving to my sister. Even if it's just me giving you gain, me giving you knowledge, like, hey man, you can do it. Like, I like my little cousins, right? My little cousins, they followed me into the military. So I basically joined the military first, and they followed behind me. So I got out, and so as I got out, and I started learning things like going through the VA, like using your GI Bill, like this and that. I just told them everything I knew while I was going through it. I said, hey man, do this, and that when you get out. When you know what I'm saying? You can use the VA, get a loan for your house. You can do this. If you want to get a job, this is what you can do. So and this is the thing, right? I just sold it into them because I'm not thinking, oh man, I'm just trying to, oh man, I can't be giving everybody all this knowledge. No, give it away. It's the same thing with farming. It's the same thing with self-sufficiency. I just try to teach people like, hey man, hey, get you a little small chicken coop, man. Get you three laying hens. Get a small chicken coop in your backyard. Get 3 laying hens. They're gonna lay you 2 to 3 eggs a day. You never have to buy eggs from a grocery store again. If you got enough space, build you a little chicken tractor, house 10 birds at a time. You house those 10 birds. When it's time to butcher them, I'll show you how to butcher them, and then after that, you can butcher them yourself. You know what I'm saying? Just give knowledge, give what you can, work together. even if you building stuff, like when I put that fence up for my sheep, I had my cousins come help me. I had my little brother out there helping me so they can learn. Cause this was all of our first time doing it. I did the research. I bought the material. I said, okay, this would be a great learning experience for me and them. So they came out, they helped, they learned, and now that's another tool under their tool belt. For, let's say if they get a farm in the future, they get some land in the future, they want to put a fence up and have animals. Yeah, they was running around here like they was lost with that toilet tissue crap. That made me so mad. It was funny. Yes, they crazy. Hopefully people are more aware now. I think people are more aware now. I think people are definitely taking heed and learning because, I mean, in the past 2 years, so we thought it was crazy. We thought it was crazy, coming into, the pandemic, 2019. We thought it was crazy then. It's even more crazy now. You got the war going on over there, and in the Eastern Hemisphere, which we don't have anything to do with, but we got that going on over there. Then we got the oil, we got the inflation. It's craziness, and it seems like it's only. And then you got the attack on women. You know what I'm saying with these transformers. I ain't gonna get into that, but yeah, you got they changing the definition of what a woman is and all this crazy crap. It's a lot of stuff going on, and people are getting aware. Because this is the thing, right? Sometimes it takes extreme things to happen for people to wake up and say, man, I was asleep. What the heck has been going on? It takes that for people. Sometimes people got to be kicked in their behind so they can wake up. That's what has to happen sometimes. And make people think, man, these people were never on my side. These people were never my friend. Man, hey, but I ain't going to go off on a tangent. She said, DNR Homestead said, you don't need toilet tissue if you have leaves. Man, you don't need toilet tissue if you got running water. You got a lot of stuff. You don't need toilet tissue. You should set up a way we can plant our seeds into you. What do you mean by that? Set up a way we can plant seeds into you. Sorry for the end of that post. Let me see that page. But yeah, that's the first step to self-sufficiency. That's the first step to self-sufficiency is the desire to want to be free. I always hated being dependent. And when I started to realize just how dependent I was, it started to scare me. Because I was like, man, I'm really like think about this, right? And I told my wife this. I was like, if something bad was to happen, God forbid, economy crash or inflation so high, like it's the Great Depression kind of thing, right? Most people would starve to death and die with food right in front of them. And what I mean when I say that is you got people who will starve and die because they didn't know how to forage. You got people who are starving, excuse me. You got people who will starve and die when they got deers running around. You see what I'm saying? When you got berries on trees, when you got different weeds that you can forage from. These people will starve and die because they don't even have the knowledge or the know-how. She said set up PayPal. I got my Cash App. If you want to, my Cash App is in my description. It's $SapGarden1. So that's SapGarden1 if you want to. And I appreciate it being our homestead. But yeah, people would literally, they would starve and die or risk their life to try to take something from somebody when they got food right in front of them. They won't even know how to recycle seeds. Man, I just got, hold on, I'll show y'all, hold on, one second. All right. So, and this is gonna be in the video that I'm gonna post Monday when I went and got my sheep. So basically, the people, the good folks that we bought our sheep from, our two sheep, our two Katahdins, our newest ones, they got a farm and everything like that. And so they had this red okra. They had this red okra, this purple okra. And they had these long green beans, right? And so they were, I mean, these people were just so nice, so much of nice people. They were just such a blessing to us. But anyways, they said, hey, you eat okra, you eat this? I'm like, yeah, of course. And so they was like, hey, we got some red okra. We can pick some for you if you want to dry them out to save the seeds so you can grow your own. And I said, oh man, yes. Can you possibly explain your start info getting your farm? Yes, ma'am, I will. Yeah, I'll explain after this. So basically, it was like, yeah, man. They was like, yeah. So we're gonna give you some. We're gonna pick these red okras for you and these green beans, so that way you can dry them out and get your own seeds from them. And this is the thing: most people don't even know how to do that. They think, oh man, I got to go buy some seeds from the store. Not even realizing once you plant something, you have access to that crop forevermore after that. Because how many seeds are in the seed? Unlimited. There's unlimited seeds in the seed. One seed that you plant in the ground, there's unlimited seeds in that, right? Just like as a man, I'm one person, but I have potential to father a lot of people. It's the same thing with seeds. You plant one seed in the ground, that seed produces a crop. The crop that it produces, every single crop that it produces has seeds in it, and each one of those seeds has the potential to breed more and more and more and more crops and more and more and more and more seeds. So they gave us these beautiful okras, which are so beautiful. I can't wait to grow them. I can't wait to taste them. So we're gonna dry them out and reuse them for seeds. But you have so many people who will literally die and starve to death, or die risking their lives trying to take something for somebody in the event of a event where it's a disaster, because they don't know how to plant seeds. They don't know how to forage. They don't know how to hunt. They don't know how to grow things. They don't know how to skin an animal and butcher an animal. They don't know all these basic skills. All right. Can you possibly explain your start into? Yes. So, basically what happened, so we moved from Virginia actually, and this was led by the Holy Spirit, honestly, because God, He just put it on my heart to start looking for jobs and applying for jobs in the Georgia area, in the Savannah area specifically. And so I knew it was a military base down here, so I started applying for jobs, and God opened the door easily. And so at our old house in Virginia, we had already started gardening. We had chickens and things like that. But we were just under an acre. We had just under an acre. And so we couldn't really do much as far as raising bigger animals like goats and sheep or cows that we wanted. So we basically, we were limited. So I told my wife, I said, the next place we live, I gotta have at least 5 acres. I gotta have at least 5 acres. So that's what happened. We actually bought our home on the land. There was nothing, farm related built here. I think the previous owner, he farmed like years and years ago, but there was nothing here for me to, start from. It was just the land. So everything that's on the land right now, as far as that has to do with the farm, I have built that, with the help of people, of course. I have built, and things like that. So yeah, that's actually how I got, my farm specifically, and then I just applied for a farm member and everything like that, because I already came here with the know-how as far as what I want. Because I already had a plan. I said I want to raise sheep and I want to raise chickens. Because this is the thing, right? Most people, they don't even think of raising sheep, especially black people. When you think about farming, you think about cows and chickens and stuff like that. People are like, sheep, what kind of meat is that? And I had to tell people that's lamb meat. Like, people didn't even know like sheep was lamb. And I'm like, yeah, that's lamb. And I wanted to raise sheep. Me personally, I want to raise sheep for spiritual reasons, because the Bible always talks about us being sheep, and Christ being our shepherd. You know what I'm saying? And it's so crazy. And I'm going to do videos on this. I ain't going to get too long-winded. But reading the Bible and being a shepherd to sheep myself, I understand it on a deeper level. I understand why God calls us His sheep. And I understand why God says you got the sheep versus the goats. You got the wheat versus the tares. I've had sheep and goats, and trust me, I'd rather have sheep all day, because sheep is that they're gonna follow without question. They're gonna respect the boundaries. They're going to put their lives in the hands of the master. That's what Christ calls us to do. He calls us to follow him, even unto death. These sheep, they will follow me off of a cliff. These sheep are the most gentle. You know what I'm saying? They're meek. Christ calls us to be meek and humble. But yeah, I ain't gonna get on tangent. I'm gonna make videos on all this stuff. But I specifically wanted to raise sheep and chicken. I wanted to raise sheep, like I said, for spiritual reasons, and also because I love lamb meat too. So lamb meat is the best. I love lamb meat more than any other red meat. Goat is good, but I prefer lamb. So I wanted to raise sheep, chickens, turkeys. I wanted to raise goats too, but then after my experiences with these goats, man, the only way I go back to goats if I do milk goats. I don't want to raise no more goats for me. They too much of a headache. They got too many problems, and they're crazy. But yeah, so that's how that's actually what happened. And it's so funny, right? I'm gonna share this story and I'm gonna get off because I've been on for an hour. But I'm gonna share this story, right? So this specific property we own, this specific house we own, right? Because me and my wife, like I said, once God put it in me to start applying for jobs, I got interviews like that. And so when I finally got the job, I had a tentative offer. I didn't have an official offer, but I had a tentative offer. So a tentative offer pretty much means you got the job. It's just you waiting on the official offer pretty much. So while we waiting on the official offer, we already put our house on the market in Virginia and sold our house, right? Under contract and all that stuff. And we're looking for houses here. So we were looking for houses, I would say, maybe 2 months prior to us moving here. And we were on the hunt for like at least a good month and a half. And every single house we were looking at, you know what I'm saying? Either it was something wrong with it. It was something wrong with it. And or if it was something that we really wanted, you know, it either was under contract, somebody had took it, or it was too far. It was too far out. Like it'd be over an hour drive for work. So I got to the point where I was thinking like, man, I may have to settle. I may have to settle for something under 5 acres. You know, I might have to settle for 2 acres because we was looking at a house that was 2 acres. And we had went to look at a house that was 2 acres, and I was just like, you know what? No, I'm not feeling this. And so this house was the last house we looked at. This house had been on the market for over 30 days, 31 to be exact. This house had been on the market for 31 days. Nobody had put an offer on it, right? Now, initially, early in our search, we had houses that we were looking at. We was driving by them and looking at the properties and stuff like that on our own. And we drove by this house. We drove by this property. And from the road, you can't see the house. So we got lost, and then we kind of got a glimpse, and we was like, I don't know, man, you know. And then we was on the dirt road, and I was like, we don't know about this. So we just wrote it off, right, early in our search. And so when we got down to the end of our search, and when I thought I was gonna have to settle, our realtor sent us this house. And so, you know, we actually came to the house with our realtor and looked inside, and it was the perfect house. And we was like, yep, this is it. And so we put an offer in on it. That same day, somebody else wanted to put an offer in on it, but we ended up getting it. And that's how we got this house. It was God had set this aside for us. You know, because in the market that we were in at that time as well, people were buying houses like crazy, like this, like that. Because we sold our house. The first day, our old house in Virginia, the first day we put it on the market, we had 7 offers on it. That's how the market was at the time. You say there is help financially for a small farm. I'm actually looking into that. I know there's USDA loans. There are grants. I just haven't been blessed with a grant yet that I've received. I've applied for some, and I got faith, but I know there's loans through the USDA as well for small farmers, and it's just, you know, I got to get on there and dig a little deeper and stuff like that. But right now, I've just been focused on what I can do right now. But that's not to say that I'm not going to look into getting help or that it's not help out there. I just haven't set my sights in on it yet. But yeah, like I was saying, like the market was just that crazy. Like people were buying houses left and right. And so I was like, it wasn't nobody but God that had this house, this perfect house for us that was on the market for over 30 days and nobody had put an offer in on it. All the other houses we looked at were on the market for less than a week, and people had put offers in on it. And it was so competitive, but this was just set apart for us. That's why we named it Set Apart Gardens. Because I was gonna name it something else, but my wife was like, "No, Set Apart Gardens," because it was literally set apart for us. And that's how we got blessed with this property and this farm. And you know, we have plenty to work with now. I'm sure, yeah, we're gonna outgrow it. As far as land wise, not house wise, but land wise, we're gonna outgrow it, and I'm gonna purchase more land close. But that's how we got blessed with it. Also looking at homesteading your home with it helps with taxes. Yeah. So I have a farm. So my property is considered a farm. So I'm pretty sure that's gonna help me with taxes in some kind of way as well. And also the fact that I'm a disabled veteran, so I'm gonna look into that as well. But yeah, I appreciate it. I'm gonna look into the homestead. And somebody was telling me about that too. That'll help as well. But yeah, Mrs. L, there's help on with the USDA with loans and stuff, and there's also grants. It's just like you have to just dig. You got to dig and dig and dig. Like you know, as far as to find grants, but loans, yeah, you can definitely get a loan. Homestead, yes ma'am, he sure did. Yep, but that is the first step to self-sufficiency is the desire to want to be free. You're right about it. Yeah, I got to look into that, man. Honestly, I just been focused on working that. I'm just now getting to the point where I'm starting to look up a lot of these things that people were telling me about. Mrs. L, how large is your homestead, Mrs. L? Because I know you garden a lot. How large is your homestead? Or are you looking to buy land for a small farm? Because whatever information I come across, I'll definitely email you. Because I got your email address, so I'll definitely email you whatever information that's beneficial. I'll definitely email it to you if I come across it. Because trust me, I'll be looking. But I just ain't ran. I guess I ain't looked hard enough. But God ain't put it in front of me yet. I be trusting God just to put stuff in front of me because that's what He usually do. You know, I try not to. What's the word I'm looking for? I try not to make my own plans, if you will. I try not to make my own plans. I try to just let God lead me. Now, of course, you want to have a plan, but at the same time, you want to be in accordance with God's plan. What other states would you consider to have land for sale? Oh, that's a great question because I be looking for land. I be looking at land online. So I would say that has affordable land. Georgia has affordable land. Mississippi, Alabama, pretty much a lot of the southern states. Texas, and also I don't know if a lot of people are open to it, but if you go to the west, like Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, places like that, you can get a lot of land for cheap. Because I was thinking about that, because essentially when I first got the desire to want to be free and become self-sufficient, I was thinking about living off grid, and it's still a thought, but that was like my main thought, off grid. And immediately I started thinking about those places in the west, like Idaho, like Wyoming, like Montana, like a lot of those different places where you can go and buy a gang of land. You can buy a lot of land out there, good land too. Now, of course, you got weather elements in every place you go to, but in those areas, you talk about cattle, you can raise whatever you want. You talk about you can get acres on top of acres, yeah. So those states, most definitely, you can look into land in those states. But the thing is, and I'm gonna just be very, very blunt, there's not a lot of black people out there in those areas, but that shouldn't stop you. Because, it just shouldn't stop you. But yeah, definitely in the South, in the historic South, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas. What area of Texas are you in? What area of Texas? Because that also depends as well. Because of course, if you're gonna be like in Houston area or close to the big cities, Dallas and all of that, the land is gonna be high. But like if you go to like I want to say like Central Texas areas, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of little, but you got to be careful though. You got to be careful because you could find a great deal on some land, and you could be in the middle of clan country. So you just got to be careful. But that's where I saw a lot of the land in Texas. But also in those western states as well. But Georgia is good too. I'm in Texas. There's a lot. Just how much you're willing to pay. Yeah. Oh, the White family. Yeah, the White Family Farmstead. Yeah, they in Texas. What area of Texas are you in? The White Family Farmstead. Oh, Houston. Was your land affordable? Was your land affordable? Man, it's a beautiful okra. Let me just crack one open. Man, it's hard to crack open. Man, it's tough too. Houston area, but looking in like Tomball area. I'm not familiar with that area. I would say go on landwatch.com. That way you can filter it out by price and all of that. Dang, y'all, this is really a tough okra. Okay. Oh, it's not like a regular green okra. This is what the seeds look like, y'all. It's beautiful. I'm gonna dry these out and replant these because these are beautiful seeds. I can't wait till y'all see my new sheep I got, my new Katana. She's so like her coat is so beautiful. But these are the seeds from that okra. I'm checking for family, not for me. Okay. Yep. Any information I come across, Miss L, I definitely send it to you in your email. Cause as a matter of fact, it's crazy you say that because I was just looking on the USDA's website today just to look for, cause I was looking specifically for disabled veterans, and I was looking for grants, cause I don't really want to go. I really don't want to use a loan. I don't want to, but I'm just, you know, I'm just looking at the different programs they offer pretty much. Do you have a channel on YouTube? Yes, the White Family. Yep, they do. They have a channel. Yeah, go check them out. Go check the White Family Farmstead channel out, y'all. Go check their channel out. Definitely love it. Love their channel. Yeah. Also, Ayana Swain. I don't know if you don't mind traveling, but try like the Central Texas area as well. If you don't mind moving, I have a mini beginner's garden. That's all. However, I enjoy learning from others. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, Miss L. But there's resources out there. It's just knowing where to go. It's just knowing where to go and who to talk to, who's actually gotten things. Because I actually talked to some local farmers. They're actually black farmers here where I stay at, in the same town I stay in, and they farm hundreds of acres. They have beef. They have cattle. They raise cattle for beef, and I buy hay from them as well. But they were telling me they had a program they were specifically going through for the from the USDA. I forget what it's called, but basically it was kind of like a cost sharing program to where like they buy the equipment or they buy the stuff they need, and the USDA will reimburse them. But it was kind of certain stipulations, like, because when I tried to look into that program, they was like, okay, well, you got to have perimeter fencing. You got to have your whole property perimeter fenced off before we can even consider this and all that. So I was like, okay, it's just knowing about what specific program will work best for you. Okay, thank you. I'll check that out as well. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for logging in with me, checking out my live. Definitely want to shout out everybody. Miss Ayana Swain, Mrs. L, the White Family Farmstead. Thank y'all Being on Homestead, thank you for logging in. Who else was on here? L&L Honeycomb Homestead. G Money Groves, appreciate you. My auntie Dashina Green, thank you for getting on. And hey, like I always say, y'all, you give somebody the power to feed you, you give them the power to starve you. And I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good day. I'll be dropping the video on Monday, so be on the lookout for that. And man, run them likes and comments up. I appreciate y'all and be blessed.